everybody.
Hello there, friends and lovers. And those of you listening to the podcast, oh my gosh, the technical difficulties today. It is 20 minutes after the hour. Ooh. But hey, if you're listening after the fact, that doesn't matter to you, so we're going to jump right in. Hello, friends and lovers. This is, what did I say? I don't know. Name of podcast, and I am name of host. And I'm here with name of co-host, and we are in state of mind.
That is right. So, 5 Minute with Robert Nasir with Amy Nasir.
Oh, I was supposed to fill in those blanks. Oops. Okay, yeah, this is 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir. I'm Robert Nasir. My co-host is Amy Nasir. You know who you are. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who stuck it out through the last 20 minutes, Facebook decided, no, you can't do Facebook Live anymore. Now, we've been trying to get everybody to go to YouTube, get our YouTube subscription numbers up. So thank you for everybody who went over to YouTube and then said, why are you making me wait? But Facebook was misbehaving. So in any event, one more time real quick, today is January 24th, 2021. The 24th day of the year. Again, very strange in January to say it's January 24th, and that's the 24th day of the year. But you do just have 341 days left to make 2021 exceptional. And that's just what we're going to do. You've got 335 days left until Christmas, 280 days to Halloween, but here's the thing. Just 21 days left until Valentine's Day. And that means you're running out of time to join Amy's Facebook group, Valentine's Day Fun and Second Halloween.
Yes.
And this is where last time around I said to Amy, Amy, tell me about Valentine's Day Fun and Second Halloween. And Amy said, well, Facebook's not working.
Yes,
but this time...
Let me tell you, so just look that up. Valentine's Day Fun and Second Halloween is a page that I created on Facebook, and we have a number of people who love to see all the different things that we post. A lot of, information about Valentine's Day, what to get your Valentine, or what to get yourself if you want to be your own Valentine, which you can be. And it also has a little bit something to do with having a second Halloween if you want to.
Now, what made you think to combine Halloween, second Halloween, with Valentine's Day?
Well, Robert, you see...
Well, Amy...
Halloween, back in 100 years ago, literally 100 years ago, it was thought to be more of a courtship kind of thing. People would hold Halloween parties, young people would get together, and they would dress up, and then they would meet, and they would mingle and talk.
That's right. You told us on our Halloween episodes that they would have their future divined, including romances and marriages.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are all sorts of divination techniques to figure out what the name of your sweetheart will be, or the person that you're going to marry. And
you might find out who your kindred spirit was.
Yes, your kindred spirit. So yeah, there's a lot of intermingling with it and everything. And of course, Valentine's Day has some elements of having a dark past. So why not? And if you really love Halloween like I do, you can dress up for Valentine's Day. And this year, actually, Mardi Gras is falling on that weekend. So that's another reason to dress up and celebrate. And
Mardi Gras.
Have a Zoom meeting where people get together and dress up.
Excellent.
Yep.
So do that. Go on Facebook, find Amy's Valentine's Day Fun and Second Halloween group. Join in. At a minimum, you will have fun. And if you submit your address, private message that to Amy, or if we've already got it, you will receive a Valentine in the mail.
That is right.
We had 60 Christmas cards go out for Christmas, and I would love to see 60 Valentines go out for Valentine's Day.
So for those who wanted a Valentine's Day card from me, it's going to be going into the mail pretty soon here. Just give me a day or two, and after that, perhaps the USPS will actually deliver it to you before Valentine's Day.
That's right. We did have items that were sent out in late November that arrived in early January.
Yep.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed that Valentine's Day isn't as big a postal holiday, although Lord knows it should be. Today, January 24th, 21 days until Valentine's Day. The quirky holidays, because there aren't any major holidays today, but sort of. The quirky holiday of the day. Incidentally, I looked in history today. Just downers, depressing stuff. We're going to skip the history part. We'll pick that up again next week. But today is National Peanut Butter Day. And let me make sure I've got my chats going on both of my Facebook, YouTube machines here.
Yes, I want to give a shout out to Joe, who is on YouTube right now, and Emily, Linda, and Holly, who are on Facebook.
Because it is National Peanut Butter Day. Peanut butter was patented. Somebody had to invent this stuff. You would think somebody would have just noticed, hey, if I take these peanuts that came off of the tree and I roasted them, because they figured that out a long time ago, they could roast them instead of eating them raw. You just squish them up and you have peanut butter. But no, somebody actually patented it in 1884. The question is, crunchy or smooth?
Depends on what you're pairing it with. Now, if you have a peanut butter and jelly that you want a little extra zaniness to, you put in a little crunchy.
Yeah. It's interesting. I go to the grocery store and it always seemed evenly weighted, but it turns out that it's about 3/4 smooth to crunchy that people prefer, which was a bit of a surprise to me. Also, what's your favorite peanut butter treat? Peanut butter cookies, Reese's cups. I'm partial to nutty bars, Little Debbie nutty bars.
Yes, as am I.
They may be known in your part of the country or your part of the world as peanut butter crunch bars. Some places they're called Nutty Buddies, which is strange because that used to be an ice cream treat. And the wafers that are in those nutty bars are just, from a dietary standpoint, they're the devil. So you really shouldn't eat those.
They're a combination of oil and styrofoam.
But tell us in your chat if you have a favorite peanut butter treat. Let us know what yours is. Corey does say Nutty Buddies, yes.
And crunchy, without
really,
question.
It's a weakness. It's tough. Oh, and she did say crunchy. Oh, somebody did go with crunchy peanut butter. All right. The other holiday today, and this one I posted a year ago as well, because a year ago it was the same day of the year, National Compliment Day. So this is a day to compliment someone, which sounds a little boring, but think about it. You could send a fan letter. When was the last time you sent a fan letter? Like when we sent fan greetings to Leonard Peikoff, for example.
That's right.
But you could also decide, say, on the social networks or out there in real life, in, as some people call it, meat space. I like to think M-E-E-T because M-E-A-T just sounds a little too vulgar. But what if you committed to keeping it positive for the next 24 hours?
Yeah.
Not even necessarily complimenting everybody in every interaction, but doing so by default.
Well, that's one of the things that I miss, going to work and actually seeing people in real life, without masks as we used to do 20 years ago.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, don't you remember that? Yeah. And we used to compliment each other, say, hey, where did you get that dress? That's a beautiful color.
Yes. Great job on that long report that I almost finished. Yes.
But it's nice to send out compliments to people, and it just really puts a pep in my step. I'll tell you that.
And my third tip is compliment yourself.
Yes.
Not in a haughty or braggadocious way, not in a fake way, but just good job. Damn.
You can do a pat on the backs like that?
Like I did a great job recreating my stream key for Facebook.
Great job, Robert.
Nightmare. But anyway, yes, it is National Compliment Day. Make sure you spread the love. What we're listening to this week. Anything exciting you've been listening to this week?
No, just true crime.
True crime, the usual. Well, I have been listening to Yaron Brook, but I'm not listening to him today.
Oh, okay.
You know why? Because he scheduled his show Sunday night at 6 o'clock. I mean...
Well, that's okay. He'll finish and we'll still be going probably.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. In fact, there's a couple of our regulars who aren't in the chat today. I can see that. And, for example, our dear friend Jennifer, who is a high-dollar subscriber to the Yaron Brook Show.
Yes.
Hopefully she'll catch this show later, but that's obviously a priority. Because... I should explain, he's doing his questions show for the high-dollar subscribers. So it would be a shame to support Yaron at that level and then miss out at one of the perks.
Very
so
true.
we understand that. Make sure you're catching us later on
Yes.
Apple Podcasts
But
or
instead,
YouTube.
we have Jo telling us that she loves frozen bananas with peanut butter and chocolate chips.
Frozen bananas with peanut. Now this sounds very Elvis Presley.
With peanut butter and chocolate chips.
Peanut butter and chocolate chips. Well,
that sounds so good.
okay.
You can make, banana ice cream by freezing it and then, pureeing it.
I gotta say, yeah, that sounds great to one of us.
It's good. Good stuff.
Yes, definitely. Freud says, we try, but then someone is wrong on the internet.
That's right.
Yep. Well, yeah, there's only so far you can go. There's still a duty to correct folks out there.
And I just want to say, hey there, Oli, how are you doing?
So in addition to listening to
Linda.
Yar and Brooke, which we're not doing today, I did start watching the film Soul.
Oh, right. It's the new animated.
That's
I think
right, Pixar Disney, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Incidentally, today was also the anniversary of Disney signing Pixar on. They bought them for $6.7 billion.
Billion.
So, yeah, I started watching. I got interrupted. It's not that I gave up on it, but I haven't been that excited about getting back to it, and I wonder if other folks out there have seen that latest film, Soul. You could reassure me that it's definitely worth catching the second half. Or let me know that it's not, and it's like, no rush, don't bother.
So we have two questions, Mary Elaine. She asks, what was the question? I think we were
The
talking
question
about...
is, what was the question?
Yes.
I don't know what the question was. Why do you ask?
We were talking about National Peanut Butter Day, I think it was, or celebrating peanut butter in some ways. We were talking about desserts with peanut butter in it, like Nutty
yeah.
Buddies. So Mary Elaine, if you have a special dessert with peanut butter in it, maybe like a peanut butter chocolate pie.
Well, I mean,
you
for
can
me,
just let
it's
us
the
know.
simple. If it's not Nutty Buddies, it's Reese's Cups.
Yes.
The Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, which incidentally was patented, or not patented, but developed in 1928. So that's coming up on its 100th year anniversary. When we hit that, it's all peanut butter cups all year.
And
at least for me.
Yeah, the other question was, have you seen the movie Soul, the new Pixar movie? And Holly has not seen it yet, but Robert's in the middle of it, so he's kind of...
I guess we have to forgive people for joining us late because we joined them late.
Yes.
Technical stuff. So besides Yarn, Brook, and Soul, the other thing I'm listening to this week is clips from Anne of Green Gables. Mm-hmm. And regular listeners to the show know that besides the original books, what we love is the 1980s Kevin Sullivan production.
Yes.
And that brings me to the topic of kindred spirits.
Yes, kindred spirits. We had our friend Guy who said, are you talking about alcohol?
Yes, the kind of alcohol that your kindreds would, spirit. And the funny thing is that he made a joke, but I took it seriously because our good friend Sean Albert, who's a professional at the Henry Ford, and teaches at the school there in the museum. It's amazing.
So he's an objectivist friend that we have at Great Lakes Objectivists.
But working his way through college, he was a bartender.
Yep.
But he wasn't a bartender. He was a drink preparer. He took bartending seriously. You know, you see films with bartenders who are amazing. Goofy stuff like Cocktail, the old 80s film. Sean is like that. He's that kind of person who takes it seriously, but his version of that, it wasn't goofy, but it was a little silly. He developed, for example, Atlas Shrugged cocktails for GlowCon 6.
Yeah, there's the Fountainhead Fizz. There's Mr. Thompson's Grapefruit Special drink.
Amazing.
There's one about James Taggart as well. He has something with John Galton in it as well. But it's really... He's a great drink maker
and funny.
So funny.
So of course, when Guy asks, "Kindred spirits, is that a alcohol with your relatives thing?" Yeah, sort of, kind of. We love the concept of kindred spirits, and it's a funny thing because when I've thought of kindred spirits, I've always thought of spirits of a kind, kindred kind, the kind of people that are a match for your psychology.
Yeah.
And what I didn't realize was the connection to not kind but kin. So looking this up, I went back to Amy's old blog. Amy
right.
actually had an old weblog.
Look at this, a printout. It's an old-fashioned printout of my old-fashioned blog.
And from her post way back in March of 2008,
Wow.
she was explaining the name of the blog, which was Kindredist.
Yes, if I can jump in, it says, although it generally refers to family as in kin, or kinfolk,
Yep.
Kindred is a word often used in one of my favorite stories of Anne of Green Gables. And basically they have, Anne and Diana being kindred spirits. It's more than a best friend. It's more of like a soulmate friend, you could say. And basically one where you share, exciting adventures with, a benevolent view of life with. And so I say, therefore, kindredist means, and that was the name of my blog, means someone who practices loving his or her values and praises similarly minded people within a rational, grateful, and benevolent context.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I went to Merriam-Webster, and it turns out that the words have similar origins, and there's a reason why. For example, in German, kind is actually the word for child.
Yes.
And there's a connection to the idea of being of a kind and being kin. So I wasn't that far off the mark. When I was looking up more information on the idea of kindred spirits, I found an article at mindbodygreen.com, which sounds very holistic and zen, and it kind of is. But it was an interesting article, so I've linked to it in the show notes, and she asks a little ways in here, what are kindred spirits? And she refers to Carla Manley, PhD, who says, kindred spirits are like-minded and like-souled people with whom an instant connection of love and understanding is mutually experienced. The connection is inimitable and often defies verbal description. Well, nothing defies verbal description on this show. And the article goes on to talk about people who share common interests, values, or world views. And they might be described as kindred spirits.
Yes.
And then she gives signs of a kindred spirit. So see if you agree with these.
Okay.
Now, again, we're talking about mental and spiritual, or you could think psychological, or
Yep.
if you're an objectivist, sense of life.
Yep.
The style of a soul, as the great philosopher Ellsworth Toohey would tell us. The style of a soul.
Well, that's really Ayn Rand's.
It is. Ellsworth Toohey got the villain of one of the villains of The Fountainhead, got so many of the best lines because
Yep.
he would say these brilliant things for the opposite reasons.
You'll just have to read The Fountainhead. Go
Read
ahead.
the book. If you haven't already, you have already.
So let's see.
Half of the people who listen to this show are all familiar with that. The other half will get there eventually. Signs of a kindred spirit. One, you feel at peace around them. Because they seem so familiar to you, being around them makes you feel calmer. It can be an immediate sense of relief as your spirit senses you've found another soul who knows and understands you. Number 2, you have an unusual amount in common. 3, you learn about yourself through them.
Yeah.
Now that's what I thought about, and that may be more useful than we realize. 4, you tend to see things the same way. Well, that gets into the philosophical commonalities.
Yeah.
5, you can sometimes tell what they're thinking or feeling. Okay. 6, you feel you know them right away. 7, they're a great support system. Can you see? I'm kind of hoping some of these would apply, for example, to this podcast.
Yes.
Kindred spirits versus soulmates. Now, the PhD, who was used as the expert here, says, a soulmate does not need to be a kindred spirit, for soulmates can be very different from each other. While kindred spirits tend to be birds of a feather, soulmates are often a case of opposites attract. So I went on from there to try to find, well, what's the difference between a kindred spirit and a soulmate? And the best I could tell, but I'd love to hear folks' opinions on this in the chat.
Yes.
Kindred spirits, again, are of a kind, or like kin or family. They share common values, mode of operating, comfort zones, approach to life. And I notice this is especially in regard to positive values. You don't really think of kindred spirits as people who hate the same things. I would never
no
think.
fun.
Yeah, I don't really think of my allies in politics
Yes.
as kindred spirits,
True.
unless they're kindred spirits in some other ways too.
Yes.
But yeah, when I go to a political rally, those aren't really my kindred spirits. If politics is where you find your kindred spirits, you might think about your focus. Think about what you think is important in life.
Yes.
Maybe that's cool. And for some people, politics is their profession, and that's great. But something to think about. Whereas soulmates are usually taken to be two people who are meant to be together by virtue of having such, not just kindred souls, but puzzle piece souls that fit together. They're not just the same two people going on the same path, but they assist each other through that.
I see. I suppose you can have soulmates even if you have siblings, perhaps even.
I would think of them as kindred
relatives.
spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, I would say.
Well, there are multiple definitions. You
Yes.
could use the words interchangeably. But for my own purposes, I will always think of soulmates in terms of romance.
Exactly.
I should mention that the author of Eros and Ethos,
Yeah.
Jason Stotts,
That's right.
is very much against the concept of soulmates.
Right.
And I think he's a psychologist, so he's run into the kind of folks who are waiting for their soulmate. In other
Right.
words, waiting for that one person, that right person, that person who hits all the check marks, and if they don't, that's not the one.
Or perhaps they have a mystical view of it, where they have
Yes.
this idea that they're going to fall in their laps, this
Yes.
soulmate of theirs, because it's been driven by fate or something like that.
Right.
Now, Joe actually says, I have always viewed a soulmate as romantic love.
Yeah, see,
So,
me too.
yeah.
I associate that with romance. Even though you can talk about a kindred spirit as a soulmate, I will always think of that in the context of romance. So anyway, just forewarning, since I say I believe in soulmates, well, what I believe in is, again, that idea of somebody who's not just a kindred spirit, but also on that journey together, supports one another, fills in the missing pieces in each other. An ideal romance doesn't have to be a platonic ideal.
Right.
And so Jason is right to be wary of the concept. But folks who know me know how I use that, and it's a little different than that.
Holly chimes in. She says, with my kindred spirit friendships, I don't feel anxious with them as I tend to with a lot of strangers.
Yes.
We enjoy having fun together as well as just sitting around talking. Absolutely.
And
Yes.
that is as it should be. There are people with whom you shouldn't have to second guess
Yeah.
or be on guard.
Right. Or work at it in some way, or try to prove yourself, or something like that.
Yeah, or be wary of them and constantly be worrying about, do I need to judge them for everything that they say? Or have they pretty much already passed the test, and barring some real vice,
Right.
they're already in your circle? That's as it should be.
Yes.
I had posted on Facebook, I was looking up some of the things I've written before, and I had posted, kindred spirits are as valuable to discover as they are difficult to find. And then I quoted Spinoza, who said all things excellent are as difficult as they are rare. And I think what I was trying to say at the time was kindred spirits are rare because they're such an enormous value. And, it's not just that I'm going to love everybody.
Joe has a great point. She says, with kindred spirits, time apart does not impact the relationship either.
That's an excellent point.
Excellent
and
point.
so true.
Yes.
So true.
And David chimes in. He says, absolutely perfect mates exist without platonic ideals. Yeah.
Well,
So it's an interesting...
I'm going to guess only
question.
means in the objectivist sense
Yeah.
of perfect,
That's right. Yes.
which is to say perfect can't be disconnected from reality or it's not perfect.
Very true.
It simply means wholly virtuous,
Yeah.
never succumbing to vice. And that is doable. Yeah, there were a couple of comments on that earlier post. Kindred spirits are as valuable to discover as they are difficult to find. And for example, Rebecca had said at the time, I would add that they're also work intensive to cultivate, but what wonderfully rewarding work. And that reminded me of, I've given people relationship advice, how to find your perfect soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hard, but it is doable.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely worth doing. So I love that comment from Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very sweet on that thread. But it's interesting that was 2018. And not remembering that I had written that, earlier this week I posted a quote from the original Anne of Green Gables book. And this might have been quoted in the movies as well. But L.M. Montgomery wrote, "Kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. It's splendid to find out there are so many of them in the world." Which, again, when I found the older post by me saying, yeah, they're great, but they're so hard to find. I love that I came across, kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. That could have been me talking. It's splendid to find out there are so many of them in the world. Well, launching this podcast has brought even more kindreds into our lives.
Yes.
In ways that Facebook might have eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's had us reaching out a bit more and has had folks reaching back. And I need to give you all props for that.
Yes.
I need to give you the proper respect because it is National Compliment Day. And I admire anybody who has the good sense to be friends with me.
Or myself. So thank you.
It's a variation on something I used to say about work.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been grateful to hiring managers who hired me. And not just because they gave me a job, but because I admire their good taste. Anybody
Right.
who's smart enough to hire me, they know what they're doing. Yeah. So we've been in a very Anne of Green Gables mood. You can see my
yes.
my
There's the
backdrop here is
pillow.
this pillow. Tomorrow is always fresh with no mistakes in it. And this was one of Amy's Christmas presents from Santa Claus.
Yes, thank you, Santa. If you're listening.
You're welcome. Oh, I mean, I'm sure he's thinking you're welcome, Amy.
Should I chime in on what Aristotle might think about friendships?
What might Aristotle have said about friendship?
Well, as I recall, just playing off my memory
As
here.
you recall, like speaking to Aristotle.
As I recall back into the 2,000 years ago when Aristotle and I were hanging out as
Yes.
best buds and kindred spirits, I think he said something like friendship is something about a mirror.
Yes. If a friendship provides a mirror to your own character,
Yes.
your own spirit.
Yes. Oh, by the way, friends, notice how I said mirror with 2 syllables. That's just
Yes,
a little inside
mirror.
joke.
There are 2 syllables. Mirror.
When I'm off the podcast, I call it mirror.
Mirror.
That's it. So, important information. So,
What if it's not a very important mirror? Is it a mirror?
It's a mirror. That's very good.
Where are we going?
So Aristotle makes a point that life is too short for shallow friendships.
Life is too short for shallow friendships.
Yeah. So deepen them friendships.
Good.
Yes. Open yourself up. Be vulnerable. Tell people
But
what.
it's so easy to be shallow. It's harder to, open yourself up, be all corny and sincere.
Yeah. And sometimes it's, sometimes it takes a little courage to open yourself up and to even be more honest with your friend, perhaps. Mm-hmm. And because, you definitely want to see if, you just need to test your friendship sometimes. You need to let them know what you've been thinking. And even if it might be a thought that isn't necessarily the most positive thought that they may want to hear, you can certainly let them know that. And
well, if I have to hear a hard truth, I'd rather hear it from my friends than my enemies.
Yes. So you can open yourself up to a little criticism as well. I'm certainly up for that. If anybody has any criticism of Amy Nasir, Your friend Amy.
Your show started 20 minutes late.
Grr. I am sorry. I very much apologize. I will try my best to not have that happen again.
Ooh. That was a neat trick. Yeah, I'm not kidding. And I think more people need to learn that one.
What? What exactly are you pointing out here?
You just apologized for something that wasn't even your fault.
Yes.
Isn't that unjust?
No, actually, that's gracious.
Wow. Of course, anybody with a functioning brain out there knows that it wasn't really your fault, and all you're doing is being gracious.
Yes.
But I know there's going to be somebody out there who's going to say, no, that's wrong, that's unjust, because it wasn't her fault. She should have said, that's not my fault. Why are you blaming me? Right. In just that tone of voice, of course. That's cool.
Thank you very much, Robert.
That's very cool.
My host, Robert.
So I've got a couple of important things I need to get in. We're running a little later. We're running 20 minutes later than usual.
Yeah, we're probably going to be going over the 7 p.m. hour. Just so you know.
Well, but we'll keep it short.
Yeah.
Real quick, well, I'll do the homework real quick. My homework for this week, and you can join me in this if you want.
All right.
Because it is National Compliments Day. My homework for this week is simple. I intend to pay off my kindreds. If, as Leonard Peikoff says, the first duty of justice is to praise and defend the good. Mm-hmm. See, we talk about justice means punishing evil. But Leonard Peikoff says the first duty of justice is to praise and defend the good, unquote. Then I will commit this week to telling a kindred spirit, one each day, one reason that they are kindred to me. In fact,
I like that a lot.
My post-it note for the week says, one a day, compliments. Or specifically it says, compliments, one a day.
So how are you going to be messaging people or calling them out in public?
You know, I will be doing what's appropriate depending on the relationship.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll do a lot online, but I will do some, like, real up close and personal. But yes, compliments, one a day. So if you want to join me on this week's homework, you might take a post-it note and write one a day, or compliments one a day, and compliment somebody, just one a day. I know that sounds meager. That sounds like it's not much. But if you're doing that on top of whatever other graciousness you already practice, you'll be surprised what 7 compliments over the course of a week looks like and feels like, and what that accomplishes in your friendships. Because it's so easy to take, at least for me, and I see it all the time in others too, it's so easy to take people for granted. And we compliment them when it's convenient, when it's easy. But if you have to do one every day, you might do some of the ones that aren't easy and aren't convenient. Right. And those turn out to be the best. So that's my homework for the week. That's what I plan to do.
Joe has yet another wonderful statement from Joe here. This content reminds me of a favorite Ayn Rand quote. Quote, like any other value, love is not a static quantity to be divided. Yes. But an unlimited response to be earned.
Yes.
And she said, I have been working on adding more love. So
wonderful.
That's wonderful.
And that's what I have always loved about that one, is that it seems like the 2 different messages. Now I have to bring it up to make sure I get that right. Love, like any value, love is not a static quantity to be divided, but here's the thing. But an unlimited response, which sounds like you could love everybody and everything, but then she says to be earned.
Yes.
Which implies there's a lot more to love out there than you are actually taking advantage of.
Yes.
And yet at the same time, you've got to be just. You can't give your love to people that don't deserve it, or things that don't deserve your time and attention. So you've got to be ruthlessly rational, and you've also got to be extraordinarily benevolent and generous. I love the 2 of those together. And I think we've tried to convey that kind of message here on the show.
Yes, that
and we'll be doing
basically
more as we go.
values are limitless.
Values are limitless,
And,
but
yeah.
they have to be values.
Yes, they have to be values. They have to be created. They have to be worked on. They have to be maintained.
There are a lot of things people take as values that really aren't, and don't serve them well, don't make them happy, don't lead to success,
Right.
aren't part of flourishing. So again, I love that an unlimited response to be earned.
Yes.
So good.
Well, speaking of earning and buying and shopping.
Yeah, speaking of unlimited values
Yes.
and limited but extraordinarily rational values, I have a recommendation for you. We received a fantastic offering from Linda Cordair at Quent Cordair Fine Art.
Oh, yes.
Every year they do their annual fine art calendar, and they do this both as a wall calendar and as a desk calendar. And each month features one of the magnificent artworks that they sell at the gallery. Here's the thing. Quent Cordair Fine Art is offering free shipping
Wow.
within the U.S. this week on the remaining stock of their 2021 fine art calendars. As I posted a little bit earlier, if you missed the end of the year to get all the best, because all the best calendars are gone by the end of the year from the bookstores and art stores, and even some of the ones you get online, and you can't beat the Quent Cordair Fine Art calendar. So if you order one today, you can also have $5 off each calendar if you're subscribed to the Robert Nasir YouTube channel. So, free shipping and $5 off. All you've got to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel, Robert Nasir, and that's free. Use the code Nasir at checkout. It's that simple. Now, we're not advertising and we're not getting paid to advertise. We just love the Cordairs. We love Quent Cordair Fine Art. And we love you guys. So get the best calendars out there. Get them $5 off. Get them with free shipping.
You know, this sounds like such a great deal. It's something that it sounds like we need to jump on. And this is certainly I'm going to be purchasing one because this is a limited. What you doing?
Oh, I was just going to say it won't send that because it's too big.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And if you get rid of the Facebook nonsense at the end, which is always a good idea. Anyway, so
Yes.
sorry about that. Order today.
Yeah.
$5 off each calendar, free shipping. Subscribe to our channel, code Nasir. All the details are on my earlier post on my wall on Facebook and also in the show notes for this episode. So enjoy that. That's an early Valentine's present to all of you.
Yeah, limited quantities. Go out and get that. Of course, Linda says in the chat, but wait,
there's more. Well, of course, when you go to Cordair.com,
yes,
you will see
so
more.
much more.
There is so much more.
And I am so impressed with what they've done at their Jackson, Wyoming store and the pictures that I saw of that and the article that was out there. And wow.
Yes. Yeah, if you're not already friends with Quent and Linda, or if you're not already subscribed to their Facebook channel, the news coming out of the gallery is great. The new gallery in Wyoming, of course, the Napa Gallery in California is still operating as well. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. So there you go. My Valentine's present to you. We'll have more Valentine presents for you, but how wonderful is that? I do have one more recommendation. If you're stuck somewhere where you are compelled to wear a face mask, like if you're on Earth, for example, right about now, why not wear the best? And the best ones are by Erene Romanski on Etsy.
Oh, yes. Erene Romanski on Etsy.
Yep, Romanski.
Romanski.
It's the same name as Adela Romanski, the Academy Award-winning producer.
Oh, you're right.
I wonder if Erene Romanski could be, for example, her mother, who is also my sister. So anyway, if you're going to be wearing masks a little longer, and it looks like it's going to be a couple more months, a couple more months if you listen to, for example, Dr. Harry Binswanger, many more months if you listen to the people who say, but they're not going to be done with the vaccinations until August. That doesn't matter. The level of immunity that we'll reach well before then. But in any event, you do need some masks before then. So you should have don't you deserve the best?
You do deserve the best.
You do deserve the best.
I deserve the best.
The link is in the show notes. Go to Miss Romanski's Etsy store. After you're done visiting Quent Cordair Fine Art and ordering your supply of calendars, you should get these. The calendars are not that expensive anyway. The regular price is only $20, $25,
Right.
depending on wall or desk calendar. So you should already be giving these to everybody you like anyway. But after you're done ordering those calendars, go to Etsy, order a couple of masks, tell them Robert Nasir sent you. They won't give you a discount. It'll just be a way of making my sister happy. And she deserves that because these really are the best. She made rock and roll masks and guitars and stuff appropriate to my shaggy, long-haired face. So there you go. And with that said, now that we're actually not running that much longer than we did last week, even without the 20-minute delay. And I've got to give mad props to everybody in the chat. It's so good to see all the comments, and especially since we started 20 minutes late. But it was important to me to get the word out to all of my kindred spirits that we appreciate you.
Yes.
Because we do.
We do. This has been almost, we're coming up, well, in a couple of months at least, we're coming up on a year. Well,
oh, yeah,
a month,
not even
actually.
1 month. March 1st.
A month and a week.
Holy heck.
And this has been such a delightful journey. And, I just love the fact that you guys are here with us. And I know a lot of you personally. And I'm getting to know more of you personally on Zoom as well. So it's just been so delightful and so wonderful and so enriching in my life. And I hope that we've been very enriching in your life as well.
Or at least a bit of fun.
Yes.
So with that said, show notes, everything we've talked about, the art, the masks, the stories, all posted online within 10 minutes after this episode. Make sure you take a look. Don't miss out on any of that. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions for future episodes, 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir has a Facebook group. You should be in that group. You should be posting. You should let us know what you want to hear more of. If you want to support the show even more directly financially, patreon.com/Robert Nasir. We always thank our patrons. In fact, last night we partied with some of our patrons. We had the Sub-Zero karaoke in the backyard of Casa della Nasir. 20 degrees outside, but big fire and a propane heater and microphones and projector screens. And oh, that was a good time. And yes, there were patrons of 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir in attendance. Those of you who are supporting the show, thank you. Those of you who'd like to support the show, patreon.com/Robert Nasir, or send us a private message if you prefer a PayPal link. And with that said, I've got to say love to all of our kindred spirits out there. As always, we wish you success. We wish you happiness. We wish you flourishing. We wish you the kind of kindred spirits that we feel honored, blessed, happy,
enchanted by,
to count as our friends.
Yes.
And as always, always, but especially with Valentine's Day coming up, we wish you love.